Welcome to the She Builds Show. I'm your host, Stefanie Olson, a licensed general contractor who builds new construction, renovates, and designs your vision. Today, more than ever, we need raw, authentic women who are willing to rise above society's norms, break those glass ceilings, and encourage each other to boldly build the life we were meant to live. So, honey, what are you building? Welcome to the She Builds Show, you guys. The title of today's episode is Trello, the organization software you have been looking for. So organization and systems is one of my favorite topics. I love anything that saves time, is user-friendly, and allows for a task to be documented and delegated. So you don't have to keep reteaching the same thing over and over because nobody ever wrote it down or documented it. Let me introduce to you Trello. 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 It's not Trillo. Don't say that. It's Trello. And it's my best friend. I have used a lot of software and systems throughout the years, and I'm always looking for something that is better than the last. And because there's a jillion options out there, it's hard to know which one works best. So what the heck is Trello? Trello is a web-based Kanban-style list-making application, and it was developed by Trello Enterprise. So basically, it's a higher-level to-do list. There are two things, columns and cards. Along the top, you can have as many columns as you want. The options are limitless, and how you want to organize the lists are up to you. But here's my recommendation. And I was taught this by one of my coaches like 3 or 4 years ago on how to organize my Trello board and the columns across the top. So to the very left, I list the column. The first one is called backlog. This is one of my favorite titles of a column because it's just where you get to brain dump everything. Whatever you have that needs to get done goes in backlog. All the things that are running around in your head, it gets dumped here. And under that column, for each task, you create what is called a card. The card has its own little box with a title, and you can have as many cards under the column. So next to the backlog, to the right, I title the column This Week. I only allow, and I teach my team this, 5 things at a time to be put in that column. So you just choose the items from backlog and you click and drag them into this week. Next to the this week column is what I title today. This is what you are going to get done today. I teach my team that they're only allowed to put 3 things. Yes, 3 things. If you take everything from backlog and you put it in to this week or today, it feels really overwhelming, not only visually, but mentally, and it just feels like it's not achievable. So I put a limit on how many things you can put into those columns. So next to today, to the right, is what I call doing. And you click and drag one, only one thing from today, and you put it in doing. That means you can only do one thing at a time. It is proven that multitasking is not possible. Let me prove it to you right now. So I want you to make a fist. Now I want you to point both your fingers up. And then now I want you to move them about an inch apart from each other. And then I want you to stare directly between, now don't touch your fists together. You have to have your hands apart. And I want you to stare directly between both pointer fingers. What happens? What happens? Your fingers drift back together. You can't hold your fingers apart and gaze through them at the same time. So stop trying to multitask. It doesn't work. One thing at a time. Okay, now that I've proved that, we can move on. Next column, next to doing, is what I call done. When you're done doing that one task and it's fully complete, you click and drag it into done. It's so satisfying. I actually set up in my Trello for my team that anytime anything gets put into done, it gives you a little green thumbs up and it just feels so nice. I know it's little and small, but it just is like this little extra dose of like, hey, girl, yeah, you did it. So next to done is what I call stuck. If you're doing a task and say someone didn't get back to you, then you just click and drag that sucker into stuck. You don't have it lingering around and wondering what's going on with it. Put it in stuck. So next to stuck is what I call done last week. And next to that is what's called done history. And I set these columns up under what is called Butler. And basically it's an add-on inside of Trello. And what Butler does for me is cook me a damn meal whenever I ask. Just kidding, I wish. What it really does is move my tasks from done into done last week every Saturday automatically. And it moves my done last week column into done history every Saturday automatically. So every week when I pull up my board on Monday, I have a clean, fresh, empty done column. And if I need to look back for something in the last week or the week before, I just go to done last week or done history. It's just an automation that I set up and it's really convenient. So finally, next to those columns is what I call references. This is where I put all things I would ever need to reference. So because I run a lot of team members and I have a lot of subs, I have a lot going on, I use this for login information, project documents, anything that might be convenient and you would need accessible. So put all of your references there. Okay, so that's how I run my standard board. And that's how I have my team members set up their board with those columns across the top. Now, within each column, again, is what is called cards. So let's talk about cards. So each time you create a card, you make a title of the task, and that's what shows up in the card. You just see the little box with the title. But then when you open that card, it will blow your mind. Inside each card, you can attach any document, PDFs, photos, screenshots. You can make a description in the description box to be able to give more information about the task. You can create a due date. And if you have a due date, it will turn like yellow and it'll turn red if it's overdue. You can assign the task to another member. You can create colorful labels. And one of my favorite parts is that you can create checklists. You can have multiple checklists for one task also. So if a task has separate phases, you can have multiple checklists. It goes on and on. It really dives deep into creating tasks well. The part I like the most that if you're running a team is that you have the capability of communicating within the card to your team. So you just use the @ symbol at the very bottom and you tag your team member and then you communicate about that certain task or topic. And all the communication piles up at the bottom. So if you scroll, you'll see everything that's ever been done about that task. You don't have to check your email. You don't have to go look through your text messages to see what the status is. Everything pertaining to that particular task is in that card. It's super duper awesome. Okay, so let me give you a real life example on how I use Trello. So I have Trello downloaded on my phone and my computer. And whenever I have a task that comes up, I've just kind of trained myself over the last 3 or 4 years to only use Trello. There's so many things that pull my attention that you could put it here or put it there, but I just use Trello. Instead of texting myself, emailing myself, writing myself a note inside my phone, making a sticky note, I pull out my phone, I put it in backlog, and I get it out of my brain. I just stopped letting it swirl around. So this has been the best practice for me for the stuff that comes up throughout the day, to have it in one place and I know where it goes because it creates structure and organization. So within my team, I have my own board set up the way I just told you, and I have each of my team members have their board set up that way. And each of my team members manages their own board and their own tasks. Now, we all have access to each other's boards. So this is because we need to delegate or collaborate on projects. So once I sit down to the computer and I go through my tasks, I can delegate them to my team members. I can do this in 2 ways. One, I can create a card on my board and ask for collaboration with a team member by communicating with them within that card. Or I can go directly to their board and create a task for them to do with checklists and whatever information. And then, hey, tag me when you're done. So I have a rule in my company. We use Brene Brown's term called paint done. So what that means is that if I give you a task, I'm going to paint you a picture of what done looks like. The worst thing for me is when you give a task to someone and then you end up doing the dang task yourself because you didn't set them up for success. You didn't paint what done looks like. And Trello is perfect for painting done. You can give them a checklist, PDF examples. Sometimes I'll film my computer screen with Loom on how to do that specific task, and then I'll upload that to Trello. So Trello is a perfect way to help you document your processes and delegate effectively. So that is how I use Trello for my team and myself. Other ways I use it is for running jobs. If you want to know how I set up my boards for that, DM me on Instagram and I can send you a screenshot on how I delegate my jobs and organize them. It goes way deeper than what I'm just telling you. This is just scratching the surface of Trello. The other thing I use it for is my personal life, y'all. There are always things that need to be done around the funny farm here, and it's an easy way for my husband and I to communicate about various tasks that need to get done around here. So within this board, I write down things that need to get done. It's also a nice way to just delegate things quietly and kindly to your husband. Like, hey, can you pick up this pile of leaves, please? Thank you. I'm just going to put it in Trello. And then you won't be mad at me. But other things I keep within that board is packing lists for my kids. It just makes it so much easier when we're going on trips for me just to pull that list up and go through and pack them. I also have a set of instructions for a checklist in references for how to take care of all my animals and my house when we're gone. So every time you leave your house, you're making a list for whoever's house sitting or taking care of your dogs or animals. And I just have one set up in Trello and I send that to the house sitter, and it just makes my life easier, run smoother, and not feel like I have to recreate something that happens over and over. So document it, delegate it. I hope this was helpful for you today. I hope you check out Trello and that you can see that it functions well for any type of business, project, or even personal life. I love it. Check it out. If you download Trello and you start using it and you love it so much, please tag me at shebuilds.homes on Instagram. I want to see your new Trello board. All right, girl. So stop running in circles, trying to do everything. Get it out of your brain. Do one thing at a time. Document things that happen over and over and delegate, delegate, delegate. You got this, girl. Thanks for joining me today on the She Builds Show. My name is Stefanie Olson. My hope is that this episode leaves you feeling empowered and ready to boldly take that step into building the life that you envision, 1 2x4 at a time. And if you can do me a quick favor, please leave me a 5-star review on iTunes. I get giddy over reading the reviews each week, and I will choose one special person to win some She Builds swag. Make sure you add your name to the review, and I'll reach out if you're the winner. Thanks again for hanging out. Be sure to visit me at theshebuildshow.com, where you can ask me questions and share with me what you're building.